Good afternoon. I'm here now to see Mr. Anastasiades, and I will see Mr. Akıncı tomorrow because he is returning, as we all know, from Pakistan this evening. So I'll see him tomorrow. Of course, there's more to say when I've seen both leaders, so please respect that on this trip I've seen one of them so far. That was a good meeting. We were exploring, as I think you can imagine, both ways of overcoming this current impasse or issue in the talks, but also what to do when we are back talking, because I think there is a shared understanding that when we come over this one, which I think we will, we need to use our time as effectively as possible in order to shape a methodology for the last outstanding issues. That means that we are effective, that we're focused on the core issues. And Mr. Anastasiades has made also publicly a good statement about the need to think about the methodology that we have been following. I fully agree with that, and we discussed some ideas. These ideas are ideas I will now share with Mr. Akıncı before I can share them with you. So I can't say so much about what that means, but it's very much about trying to see how the essential outstanding issues can be structured in such a way that we remember what is important and what is more secondary and flows from the other issues. My strong sense is that the will is there. We have an issue. There's no way to belittle the fact that we've had probably the most difficult weeks in this process, but we must not allow the very sustained progress over 22 months to be destroyed by what is essentially an issue that is outside of the talks themselves, but which has to do with the parliamentary vote that happened some weeks ago on the Greek Cypriot side, and also the way that has been reacted to and the way the discussion that created. There is an issue of trust here, and in many times when I've been meeting you here or your colleagues in the north, I have been saying that I have a strong sense of optimism that this process has real potential. And then when I've been asked what's the reason behind your optimism, and sometimes criticized for being a hope monger or too optimistic, I've said that the source of my optimism is not that I'm not realistic, it's not that I don't understand the magnitude of the issues, but it is very much about the partnership, the trust and the leadership and the will to go the extra mile that I have seen so many times in Mr. Anastasiades and Mr. Akıncı. So it's the trust at the leadership level which is the principal capital of this process. Right now, that trust is not at its best moment. And I think if we are not helping, all of us, helping the leaders to overcome this impasse in their own personal trust, I think it will be difficult to re-establish the intercommunal trust, which is also necessary. Obviously, the trust between the communities is a more complicated issue. It involves a lot of people and different views. And I again would call on people in civil society, in business, in organizations, in the media, to remember that only if we allow the leaders to lead and allow the leaders to establish a credible trust between themselves and their leadership, we can have any hope of the necessary trust to be established between the two communities. It's possible. There is nothing, I have seen nothing over the last weeks even that has suggested to me that it's not possible to overcome the division of Cyprus. I am fundamentally convinced that it's within the realm of the possible. But we also had a strong reminder that it's not easy, and that issues, again, issues outside of the process itself can play negatively if they invoke historic traditional fears and concerns of one community or the other community. And I want to reiterate what I said in one of my last visits here, which is that even if we overcome this one, there may be new attempts to derail the process. And to be in favor of a settlement or against a settlement are two legitimate options. It's perfectly fine to be against, and it's perfectly fine to be in favor. But let's not be fooled and not see that the people who don't want a settlement to happen will try to find ways to convince the two leaderships to believe that the process is actually a problem between them rather than a problem about yes or no to a settlement. And we want to get back to where we were. And I cannot tell you when, but I will do whatever we can to get there.
Did you propose something specific? propose something specific, like a dinner, as the information said the last few hours?
We discussed some ideas, and I met one of the two leaders. I'm seeing the other leader tomorrow. So if there's anything concrete to say, that you will have to wait.
More tomorrow. Thank you very much.
You seem 100% that the leaders will return to the tables. Why is that?
Well, very little that is 100% certain in life, but I think I cannot see any motive from any leader not to return to the talks, because both of them have dedicated much of their life to a settlement. Both of them have been elected on a clear platform of solution. And both of them had invested 22 steady months of overcoming most of these issues in the material that we already have. So why one side or the other don't want to do it, I would not understand. I have not heard it, definitely not here. And I'm utterly convinced that when I go to the north tomorrow, I will also hear a commitment to the process. That is not the same that you can walk into the room the next morning, because maybe certain issues have to be settled first. But the determination is there. That's my strong conviction.
Okay, thank you.